Chag Sameach, everyone.
Rabbi.
Chag Sameach. It was 12 years ago today at 11 a.m. that we got the call we knew we were going to get. My brother Steve and I were helping my mother get ready to visit our father in the hospital when the phone rang. It was my brother Paul, and he said, "Danny, Dad just died." And I ask myself, and I'm going to answer this question too, I had 44 wonderful years with that man as my father. My father only had 11 years with his father. I know people who only had 6 months with their father. I also know people who had entire lives with their fathers, but their fathers were not good fathers. I had a wonderful father. What right do I have to feel pain at my father's loss when there are people who had it worse than me? Here's the answer, and I want you to listen to it very carefully. I have every right. Because pain is not a contest. And everyone has pain. And everyone has a right to their pain. I know many people, and you might be one of them, or you might know people like this, who when they tell you something that is very painful for them, feel that they have to put in a disclaimer. I know I should be grateful for what I have, but. I know there are people who have it worse than me, but. That doesn't make your pain illegitimate. Yes, there are going to be people who have it worse than you. Yes, you have blessings in your life for which you should be grateful. That doesn't mean your pain is illegitimate or wrong. There is no such thing as pain that is illegitimate or wrong. And yet, not only do we illegitimize our own pain, we illegitimize the pain of others without ever meaning to. How often as a child did you say, or how often did you say to a child, "Oh, you're young, you don't know what real pain is"? What a horrible thing to say to someone. Believe me, the 4-year-old who drops their ice cream cone and is crying about it, they don't know that there's pain worse than that. And to delegitimize it is simply wrong because they grow up with this sense of my pain's not important. And when we do this, when we take away from the legitimacy of someone's pain, we might think we're trying to make them feel better. What we're really doing is we're trying to make us feel better. Because we're not comfortable with their pain. We have an obligation when someone is in pain, not, first of all, not to immediately offer solutions, but to immediately offer an ear, to make the person feel listened to. There's a story I love telling because I think the story taught me more than almost anything else that I learned in rabbinical school. We had Rabbi Harold Kushner speak to us. Rabbi Kushner is very famous for writing a book called When, not Why, but When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And at his first funeral that he ever officiated at as a rabbi, someone came up to him and said, "Rabbi Kushner, why is God letting this happen to me?" And Rabbi Kushner thought, "I'm a rabbi. I studied at JTS. I can answer this." And he started giving this deep philosophical response as to why there's pain in the world. And the woman stopped him and said, "Please, Rabbi, I've suffered enough." And he said at that moment he learned that when someone says to him, "Why is God letting this happen to me?" what they're really saying is, "Please let me know I'm not alone. Please let me know someone cares." Please let me know there's someone willing to listen to my pain. And so as we recite Yizkor in a moment, the two messages we should be giving ourselves is that whether our parents lived to be 120 or died at 30, whether they died a year ago or 50 years ago, it's okay to miss them and it's okay to feel the pain. As that is true of any other loved one we have lost. Whether it is a parent, a grandparent, a spouse, a sibling, or God forbid a child, it is always okay to feel the pain. And the other lesson, just as important, is we have an obligation to allow others to feel the pain. Not to deny them, not to say, oh, you think your pain's bad, listen to what happened to me. And not to reject it because we do not know the pain that other people feel. Let me tell you about an incredible man, one of the most profound influences on my life. His name was Dr. Milton Graub, although everyone called him Dr. Billy Graub. And here was a man who was a pediatrician all his life, the head of pediatrics at Hahnemann Hospital in Philadelphia, which meant he spent every day dealing with sick and dying children. And he lost 2 children of his own to cystic fibrosis. And yet, in all the years I knew him, I never saw him without a smile and a kind word. Because most of us don't let other people see our pain. So when we are approaching other people, we must assume that they have pain we don't know about. Because all human beings have pain. And I will lead into Yizkor with the following story. It's an old Hasidic story, but it's a beautiful story. A woman's husband dies, and she cannot for the life of her get over his death. She's mourning and crying every single day. Finally, she goes to her rabbi. And she says, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. I can't stop crying. And the rabbi says, you must find mustard seed from a house which has known no pain. And she spends the next year trying to find mustard seed from a house which has known no pain. She comes back to the rabbi and she says, I've spent a year searching. I can't find a house that has known no pain. The rabbi said, exactly. We all have pain. We all have a right to our pain. And we all have an obligation to be there for others who are in pain. So allow yourselves, as we begin the Yizkor service on page 221, allow yourselves to feel whatever it is you want to feel without any regrets and without any disclaimers. Please rise.